Just grab my tea and the Detaching, my anchor. I don't go anywhere without this little beauty. It's covered in sand. It's so important to have an anchor, a reminder. Whenever I take this with me, which I take it everywhere, it's this knowing that everything's all good. There's some beautiful wisdom in here. Tea of choice today. Australian botanical. I can't remember exactly what's in it. I think there's some myrtle, some lemongrass, a few other things. It's delicious. I just had a beautiful interaction with the man down there who's flying planes, remote control planes, because I started setting up, getting ready to film a video, and he's seen me down here before, and he runs over and he's like, "Am I in your way?" I said, "Nah, mate, of course not." But I actually mentioned you in one of my recent videos. And anyway, we started chatting, and it turns out he's doing the exact same thing as me. He's coming down to the beach and expressing himself to make people happy. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's got some ways of filming his content, which to me it looks like it's a GoPro and maybe some other equipment. And I seen he had the same mics as me, and it turns out he uses the exact same software when he films on his phone as well. And it's so funny because in that moment I seen myself, just an older version of me. I don't know how old he is, and it doesn't really matter, but I'd say he'd be in his mid to late 60s, and he's just doing his thing. He's just getting down here and expressing himself, having fun, and allowing people to see. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, it's funny. On my way down here, I was thinking, what am I going to talk about today? And the moment I got onto the beach, I dropped into speaking about evidence, results. And it's funny because that's exactly what I do for people, get results. But I invite people to detach from getting the result, because the moment we attach to the result is the moment it dilutes the experience of the journey. But we look for evidence. That's the only thing we look for, especially through the lens of health. Is it working? Am I getting results? And again, I believe this is what holds people back from continuing the journey, because the evidence isn't there yet. But it's interesting because the evidence always catches up last. The paradox is the moment we detach from the evidence is the moment the evidence is there. But isn't that challenging to detach from the evidence? especially in the world of health. Because if we are challenged with our health and we desire a result, that's the thing we're chasing, the result. But as I just mentioned, it's always the last thing to unfold. And we always speak about falling in love with the process, falling in love with the journey. But I believe to add on to that, can we just be on the journey to be on the journey? Can we fall in love with the process? And can you allow the process to be simple, like we've spoken about in other videos? And can you devote yourself to that process and devote yourself to that practice? I'm devoting myself to these videos, to coming out here in nature with a cup of tea and speaking my truth. And I believe if I was looking for the evidence to whether or not these videos were working, clients were buying from me, I would have stopped these videos by now, because there's no evidence, there's no proof that these videos are working. But man, am I in love with this process. I am devoted to this practice. And when a client lands in my world, I invite them to do the same, to fall in love with the practice. Devote yourself to you. All well knowing the evidence will catch up later. And the evidence is then the reflection, the mirror that's held up to you, that the journey that you have been on is working. But how will you know? If you've been committed for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months to improve your health, to optimize your health, but yet nothing's changing and there's no evidence, what's going to keep you going? And that comes down to trust. Do you trust yourself that the process that you have chosen, the journey that you have chosen, is enough as it is? And can you fall in love with it? If we think about the last 20 to 30 years, if we zoom in on health, everything has been around quick fixes, fads, trends. And whenever we're sold the idea that something works and works quickly, we quickly attach to it. But then we're in scarcity. The moment we're in scarcity is the moment we're in fear. And we're in scarcity because we have been sold the idea that if you do this, you will have this. So then you cling to the result. And if the result doesn't come in the time that the person selling you the product, the idea, the concept, if it doesn't come in the time that they said it will come, oh, it's not working. I've failed. This didn't work. but there's always so much context. Always. And each human that ever tries something is going to have their own experience with that. Therefore, the evidence that they seek may take longer than the person next to them that's trying the exact same thing. Let's take weight loss, for example. When I was in the world of weight loss, not only for myself, but then coaching others through a weight loss experience, the only evidence that we were looking for at the time was weight loss. And therefore, if the weight wasn't coming off, it's not working. You lose hope. You lose trust. And back then, when I was coaching this way, I definitely wasn't encouraging the individual to just fall in love with the process and the weight loss will come. But that's okay. It's because of that experience that's now led me to speak this truth and provide more context for you. And that is the context right there. Can you detach from the outcome? Can you fall in love with the process? Can you let go and simply be in it? And it comes back to the video I made about intentions versus goals. An intention, to me, is a way of being. What's my intention with health? Rather than having a goal. Having a goal almost is like creating an end date. Once I achieve it, I'm done. I'm finished. And as I've spoken about my intentions, presence, simplicity, and patience, I'll never fully achieve that. So therefore, where's the evidence that I'm a more patient person, a more present person, a more simple man? It's a feeling. But also, there's days where I'm not present, I'm not patient, and things feel complicated. So I'm like, is all the work that I've put in gone? Of course not. It's just another opportunity for you to bring more awareness to it and let go of the evidence. It sounds like a big contradiction, doesn't it? Because of course we want results. Of course we want evidence. It's nice. It's validation. It can be motivation at times. But it can also be a distraction. Imagine if you were looking at your bank account for the evidence that you're wealthy and there wasn't that much money in there. Are you wealthy? Well, clearly the numbers don't say I am. So it must be true. I'm not wealthy. You go get your bloods done. There's some blood markers that are off, even though you've spent the last 12 months on a protocol. And there's still some blood markers that are off. Oh, I mustn't be healthy. You're on a weight loss journey and you've been grinding. You've been working your ass off. every week you step on the scales and things are progressing, weight is regressing, and then one day you step on the scales and it's gone up. Oh, it's not working anymore. That's what I mean by the evidence. How easy is it to get caught up in the evidence, in the result? But it comes back to devoting yourself to the practice, devoting yourself to the process, being patient, but being patient with precision. Not being patient like this. I'm just going to wait because I trust. Yeah, you can do that, but remember there always is aligned action that you need to take, and that aligned action is the process, my friend. It's the practice. Surfing. Well, the evidence that I'm getting better at surfing would be it feels easier. I'm surfing better. Sure. But what about those days where you just get smashed and you paddle out and you try and paddle onto waves and you kook your take off and then you get smashed again, and then next thing you know you've been out there for an hour and all you've done is cardio. And trust me, I have been there so much and will continue to be there. And there are days where I go out and surf and I didn't catch a wave. Oh, I'm not getting better. I had a really shit surf today. There was no evidence to tell me that I'm improving. Well, you better get used to those days because they're going to continue to happen. But it's the process that I'm in love with. The practice that I'm in love with. These videos are a classic example. I have this idea in mind and I'm like, I want it to go like this. I want it to sound like this. I want it to be structured like this. And then I film it and finish it and I go, oh, I ended up missing this and I didn't speak about this, and oh, should I refilm it? Oh, it sucked. Oh. But it's because I had an idea in my head and I was already attached to the evidence of what I desired it to look like, and it wasn't that. Well, it's still the practice. It's still the process. I heard LeBron James speak about it this morning, actually. This is probably not relevant for you if you're not a basketball fan, but I'm a huge basketball fan and a huge LeBron James fan. And he's coming to the end of his time in the NBA. He's been in the NBA for 23 seasons and he's 41 years of age. And someone asked him, do you still love the game of basketball? He said, yeah, of course. I'll never lose the love of the game. But the thing that's keeping him playing is not winning, is not more championships, is he loves the process. And I could just picture him and how devoted he is to that process, to getting to the court early, warming up, getting treatment, getting repetitions in. Every part of the game he's in love with. And he said the moment that he falls out of love with the process, he'll stop playing. And so my invitation to you, if you're on a health journey, about to embark on a health journey, or any experience trying something new, trying a new sport, trying a new hobby, anything, is fall in love with the practice, the process. Man, does it feel good when that evidence just slaps you in the face though. Wow. It's here. The evidence has finally caught up. But because I've been so detached from it, it feels so much better because you're not looking for it. And they speak about that in the Tao. The moment that you stop looking for clarity, clarity appears. And you can picture it, right? Like you're looking for clarity. Where is it? Is it over there? Is it over there? How about I just let go and be, and boom, clarity appears. Without giving too much away, I'm about to have an incredible conversation with a dear friend of mine in this exact location in a few days. And we're going to speak into doing and non-doing. And it'll tie all of this in really well. But I hear you, I feel you, and I have been there before, and I'm still there at times when I'm looking for the evidence. And it can be frustrating, right? When you're putting in the work, you've been focused on the doing. Where's my reward? Where is it? It should be here by now. Can you be okay if the reward, the evidence, doesn't appear? The moment you can be okay with that, you will fall head over heels for the process and the practice. And now with these videos, for me, I just come down here to be here. To simply just be. Bring my book, bring my tea, chuck a microphone on a stick, and be. With no attachment to what it needs to be, what it needs to look like, how it needs to sound. I don't want to edit it. I don't want to try and grab your attention. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just in love with the process. And why wouldn't I be? I mean, the weather's great right now. It's warm. I'm in nature. I'm hearing the sounds of the ocean in the background. I'm in love with the process. I was having a conversation with a client of mine the other day. We were in Byron, and I seen a lot of fit people there, and there was this couple that was running, and they were in incredible shape. And I said to her, I'm like, man, I wonder what it takes to get into that level of condition. What does it take to get into that shape? They were jacked. And she answered so beautifully, I bet they just love it. I bet they love the process. They love just getting up and running 10K, then going to the gym and then running again. They love it. They're devoted to it. And sure enough, the evidence is pretty clear as well that it's working. But I don't know the process and the practice that they've devoted themselves to get there. No one shows you that. The hard days, the days of just showing up because you know showing up is the only way. The practice is the only thing you need to focus on. Trust me, the result will come for you, my friend. Whatever you desire, it's coming. First of all, can you trust that the process is enough? Can you be okay where you are right now? And can you invite more in? But invite it in from a place of knowing that it's coming. But knowing that you don't need it now. All you need is the process and the practice. All right. That feels good. I'm currently looking at some big bug. It's a big ant looking thing. It's huge. He's chilling. Hey mate, I'm going to finish this video now. Alright team, have a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are. And as always, peace.